Do you have a hard time feeling gratitude sometimes in this world? I do. I do feel it, but there's something that makes it very difficult to cultivate gratitude, and I'm going to be talking about that in this video, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about what we can do when we find it just really almost overbearingly hard to feel appreciative. My name is Adam. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Before I get started, I'm doing a couple of free breakthrough calls. There's a link pinned in the comment section below. A breakthrough call is a 30-minute call where we get on Zoom and I go over your vision with you for what you're planning to create in your life. And then we get into, the deeper levels of where you're stuck and where you're blocked and some steps you can take to balance all of that out. There's a lot of talk now in the collective. Well, there's a lot of talk in the collective about a lot of stuff. A lot of it's nonsense, but there are some very important topics seeping their way into sort of the collective mainstream vernacular. I don't know what that word means, but I think it means like what people talk about. I don't really care. That's what I mean it to mean. So that's what I mean by vernacular. Please correct me if I'm wrong. One of the things that we talk a lot about now in the healing circles is nervous system regulation. And the more I've studied nervous system regulation for many, many years because I was a chaotic mess and I still am many days. But something that I've gotten good at is getting myself out of these really traumatizing, hyperactive, sympathetic nervous system fight or flight responses and coming back quicker and quicker and quicker into like a more balanced, relaxed state, regardless of what's going on around me. But it's so important, and I can't stress this enough, to learn how to regulate your nervous system. And I will talk a little bit more about that toward the end of the video, some things you can do. But first, one of the things that happens when our nervous system is not regulated is it imprints upon our entire experience. It's very difficult to feel any positive emotion when you're in a battle all day, every day with life. I recently became aware of this as I've been kind of reflecting about some times many years ago when I was not at the beginning of my spiritual awakening journey, because this journey's been going on for fucking ever. But about 12 years ago, when I was in the middle of my spiritual awakening journey, this time in my life, I worked as a waiter in a restaurant called La Sandia, and I hated it. I hated working as a waiter. I was miserable. I was in trauma all day, every day. I was short-circuiting all the time. I would go to work, and I'd go in with a really positive attitude, and I'd be like, okay, today I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to greet my tables with like compassion. I'm going to be in a good mood because the day before I'd flipped out and lost my shit, not on the customers, but in the back of the restaurant or wherever. And within 10 minutes every day, I would be in the bathroom screaming. No one could really hear me. I don't think they could hear me because they played music really loud in this place, and there was this metal bar in the bathroom kind of close to the ground, and I kind of get on my knees and just shake it and just scream. And I kind of stifle and muddle the scream because I couldn't calm down. I just couldn't relax being an empath with all of this energy coming at me all day, every day, and transmuting like eons of hell for myself and my ancestors, and it was just too much. But one of the things that I realized was there were some really good things during this period of time in my life. Now, we tend to sort of glorify times from the past when we see them through the lens of nostalgia. Part of that is, there's a lot of reasons to that. I won't get too much into that in this video. One part of it is, even if we didn't enjoy the time in that moment, if we grew as a result of it, when we reflect back, we now have the growth that is connected to that suffering. And so we see it in a more positive way. There's also something that occurs, I think, with nostalgia where you can almost romanticize any period of your life, and it's for this one simple reason. And there are many good reasons to nostalgia, but you can romanticize almost any period for this one simple reason. No matter what period of your life you're looking back at, there was always more time. And so we always have this feeling of like, oh, because we had more time, there was more potential, more possibility. Anyway, I was realizing that there was a lot of good things in that period of my life. You know, I would drive out every weekend and just kind of spend time at my parents' house because I was just too introverted and in this massive spiritual awakening, like all day, every day. Like there was no one I could share it with. There was no one I could talk to about it with at that time. I had one friend and then he killed himself, you know, and I just was always exhausted and processing all day, every day. I just didn't feel like going out or being social, and I just didn't have the bandwidth for anyone. And that was, you know, a safe place. And I'd go out to dinners with them, and I you know, my dad now has Alzheimer's and he's falling apart, and my great aunt is Alzheimer's and she's falling apart, and it's life, right? At the time, I had a hard time appreciating any of this. And I did, you know, there were moments, but one of the reasons was because it's really difficult when your body is in a battle with the world to feel grateful, because it's overshadowed by this aspect of needing to survive. And one of the things that the mind will do is it will tell you you need all of these things in order to be happy. Now, you need a couple things. You need to feel some sense of safety sometimes, and you need to be able to calm down. But until we get to a certain point where we can call better things into our life, it becomes this game of like, can you learn to calm yourself down regardless of what's going on around you, no matter what? And again, what I was saying is the mind will play tricks, like you need this amount of money, you need a partner, you need a car, you need this big, huge career, you need to be impacting bazillions of people in order to be good. You don't need any of that. You need it to be simple, and you need it to be calm. You want to feel peace, and you want to feel safe, and you want to feel love. You want to feel love, peace, and safety. And when you're in a balanced nervous system, you can create that more and more and more. And so what I was seeing with reflecting back on this period was my body was so out of whack that I couldn't appreciate what was going on at the time around me because I was so miserable, and that the improvements in my life since then have almost nothing to do with any kind of accomplishment, because I haven't accomplished much yet externally. But I've learned step by step how to cultivate peace within myself and within my nervous system better and better and better. And so my life gets better and better and better. So if you want to know where to start, and many people are talking about this, I mean, that's where you start. You got to start with the animal, because the animal, just the primal, like visceral fight, flight, freeze, fawn responses are indicative of the little human, the little simple human that's just an animal's response to life. And the higher selves come here because they have all these grandiose ideas about evolution, and you know, they've been stuck in this slave system for 18 billion years, and a lot of them are out of good ideas. So they're like, well, let me see, like, if I can get my legs sawed off and my arms sawed off and hot poker shoved through my eyes, and then get ass raped for like 15 years in a dungeon straight, and then after that come out of that and still be able to attain enlightenment. It's like they're out of fucking ideas. They're out of ideas, and they don't understand how abusive that can be to this simple animal. And the more you can start to adopt that perception, and have compassion for the animal that you are. You're also the creator, but in order to become the creator, you have to make peace with the animal. The more you kind of send that information to your higher self, because they need our help too. Come here to learn. And we might think we're learning a particular thing, but we're really not. There's something else we're learning. And us, as the smaller version of the higher version, can teach the higher version. Trust me, that's what I've been doing for years. There's this balance, but it comes down to being as easy and as gentle as you possibly can with the human part of you. Because we all treat ourselves like shit on all levels. We're programmed to do that. That's the main baseline program on Earth, is you're a worthless piece of shit because you exist. It's not true, but that's the program. How would you treat like a bunny? How would you treat a squirrel? How would you treat a kitten? That's you. And so I guess the message here is like, let go of everything that you're trying to create externally and hold on to that very loosely and focus more on how to moment simplify things and find peace. Because life is difficult, but our minds make it way, way, way more difficult. So anything that you can do to work with the parasympathetic nervous system, to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, is deep breathing exercises. You can put your hands on your belly and just literally focus. It's like bring the awareness. It's not so much bring your breath into your belly, bring your awareness. And if your breath follows, great. Every time you breathe in, notice what the center of your solar plexus feels like. Just notice it. You can do that for 5-10 minutes a day. You can sit in a chair and just notice the sensations in your body. Like most people never notice their feet. You sit there and notice your feet. And you can even imagine your feet. This is a cool exercise I started doing a little bit. Imagine your feet with like pores, almost like honeycomb. And feel like the energy come in through your feet as you breathe and out through your feet as you exhale. Don't try to pull it up your body. Don't try to move it around. Just notice it coming in and coming out. You can do this with your hands too. You can focus on your dantian, which is like right here. Right here. Just kidding. Right here. Right here. And see if as you breathe in to your belly, also notice the connection between your belly and the palms of your hands. And just sit there and sense that. And notice as the energy just kind of moves around. You start to become aware of like the subtle currents of energy. The problem with meditation, there's nothing wrong with meditation, but a lot of us have been conditioned to like focus on the third eye, and it's great. The third eye is great. The problem though is if you have no connection to your body or the lower parts of your body, your focusing on your third eye is probably just going to take you up into space, floating around in the spiritual ethers, getting you nowhere in your human life. A lot of Eastern religion, everything's been tainted and screwed up. The Taoists seem to have gotten it right. The Taoists understood that you had to focus on the core in your dantian first, because that brought you into the physical. And then you connect your third eye and your heart. These are the three energy centers: the third eye, the heart, and the dantian. So the third eye represents the mind, the heart represents sentience or love, infinite love, emotion, and the dantian represents your physicality and your will. If you have no connection to your physicality, you have no connection to your will. If you have no connection to your physicality, you're not going to go anywhere. So really focusing on your dantian, the connection to your hands, the connection to your feet, is another exercise you can do. This is very simple. You can take your hands like this and just keep your head forward and twist them to the right, and just notice the stretch like in your diaphragm, and then over to the left. And just feel that, and do that 3 times on each side. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, And then lift your arms up a little higher and do the same thing 3 times each side like this, but not anywhere near this fast. I'm not going to do like special effects and fast forward through this to show it quickly. I'm going to just fast forward myself. And then lift your arms higher and do the same thing 3 times. This helps to stretch out the diaphragm and release the vagus nerve, which helps you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Meditation with no physical component is pretty much a waste of time in the world we live in, because your body's not going with you. So really learn how to connect to your legs. Any physical exercises you can do for your legs, squatting, Pilates, just changed my life. If you're an empath and you're not working out physically, you will never be able to keep other people's energy out. Sorry to be a dick. Your body as a vessel, as an electromagnetic, like generating machine, needs to have a certain level of physical and energetic strength in order to repel magnetic energy, or to hold space for your heart to open enough so that it doesn't get in. If you're sedentary and you don't do anything ever in terms of physical exercise, which a lot of spiritual people don't like to do because it brings them out of the spiritual space, I'm not saying you can't keep people's energy out. You're going to have a very, very hard time with it. All you want is to feel good in your body. That's all anybody wants. And we think we need all these things that we don't need. Some of them are great, and we do want them. You do want a nice house. You do want all those things. It's not like I'm saying you don't need those things. I'm just saying this is the priority. Anyway, when you feel relaxed and you feel present and you feel regulated, it's easier to feel gratitude. And if you don't, a gratitude journal will help some because you're building the gratitude muscle. But if you don't learn to regulate your nervous system and you don't learn to process negative emotions, you can't force gratitude. We tend to try to force gratitude, and then when we can't, we guilt trip ourselves. That's religion. It's just programming. You get through everything by accepting it and allowing it. Anyway, I hope this video helped. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you have any questions, revelations, breakthroughs. I always appreciate everybody who watches my videos. And until next time, bye-bye.